She's highly revered among the affluent, but her story remains an inspiration to many, rising from being a local secretary to breaking the ceilings as an executive secretary in the oil industry. She is a business tycoon, a philanthropist, an oil magnate, and remains an enigma of sort, even as she hit international limelight on the coveted Forbes Rich list. From 1951 till date, she is living a life worthy of emulation with almost 40 years of marriage. I'm sure you're wondering who our guest this week is. You'll find out after this break. This is the Sunday Interview. I'm Alakija. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Sunday Interview. Our guest today is a lot of things rolled into one. But most importantly, she is a wife, a mother, a business entrepreneur, and she's currently living the dream of many. And by that, I mean there are loads of people who are out there dreaming to be big, dreaming to be affluent, dreaming to be rich. She is Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija. You're welcome to the show, ma.
It's my pleasure to be here.
I must say that you're looking very amazing at 65, so you must have to tell me the secret. What's the secret?
There's no secret. I just believe that I enjoy grace, the grace of God that He gives to all of us. There's nothing special I've done, that I'm doing, or that I'm about to do. I just find myself in this position looking the way I am.
So let me take you a bit back. Looking back to, how far you've come, 65 years, and everything that you are now, how would you see your journey to the point that you are here now?
I won't say my journey has been smooth, no, to the contrary. It's been many years of hard work, many years of diligence, persistence, focus, many years of being passionate about anything and everything that I do and putting my best into it.
So it would be very easy to assume that, you came out from a very privileged background with all, the trappings of wealth and here you are. Would that be right or would that be wrong?
It can be yes and no. Yes and no in the sense that, yes, I do come from an affluent background, but one that was of a polygamous background of 52 children.
Whoa.
Of which I'm
52
children, of which I'm child number 8 from my father's side, child number 2 from my mom's side.
Okay.
And for my mom, there are 7 of us. To the glory of God. So, yes, we had food to eat. We had clothes on our back. We went to good schools. My dad made sure that the education that he didn't have, he gave to his children. At least 3/4 of us studied abroad. But each time he gave us our school fees, he always reminded us. In fact, one of the exercises he made us do was to turn off the lights in his office and put it back on again. And if it doesn't come on, he'll say, well, you see, NEPA has taken the lights. I haven't paid my bills. So if you think that you can live on a bed of roses, life is not like that. So you have to work hard to make sure that you're able to pay your bills. So he brought us up teaching us that is how life is. Nothing is dropped on one's lap or is provided on a platter of gold. So I learned to work hard. My mom taught me that. She brought me up like that, because every morning she would make sure that we all had our chores, set out for us, and you had to do it and do it well, and you had to multitask. If you did not learn to multitask, you'll get the beating of your life. That's how I was brought up.
Okay, apart from the beating part, it looks like it was enjoyable. So let's talk about some of your earliest influences, some of the people that you think have molded you to the woman that you are today. Can you mention some of them?
Well, definitely my mother, and I've always been around. Well, let me see now. I worked in a bank, the International Merchant Bank, for 12 years, and it was one of the pioneer merchant banks in Nigeria, International Merchant Bank, that later became, changed its name a few times, and got bought over and all of that. The managing directors of the bank, where I worked, they were always extremely hardworking. The heads of the various departments, in fact, I would say all the staff in that bank were trained to excel and to go the extra mile, and that molded and shaped me more for within the corporate world, and it's I believe helped me even as I was setting up my own businesses. It was like my training ground for the corporate world.
Now, I'm very sure that, with the level that you've risen to, it's a very difficult thing to relax, because, business calls today, you have to travel tomorrow and all this. How do you relax? How do you get away?
Good one. Do I relax? I wish I did. Work for me is also part of my relaxation. Okay. But having said that, I do create time for family. Our weekends are very special to us, especially our Sundays. We travel. So, that forms part of my relaxation. But work for me, I relax in between.
Okay, earlier you mentioned that your mom ensured that every one of you could cook. So let me ask you, say we wanted to wow you with a dish. What would that dish be? Say your favorite dish. When you see it, you're just excited. You're just in a good place.
Dodo and vegetable stew. I love it.
Okay.
or boiled plantain with vegetable stew.
Okay. And that's a very wonderful diet. So let's talk about your success and how far you've come. If there was one person you would attribute it to, who would that person be?
God. Absolutely. I wouldn't have come this far without him. I gave my life to Christ, I think was about 24 years ago or so, when I was looking for the oil license. And I was looking for God. I was looking for him everywhere. I went from church to church, knocking on every door. I had no rest. I had no peace. It seemed as if there was something that I was reaching out to, that I needed to hold on to, I needed to grab, that I couldn't find. Those years drew me closer to him. And as I look back today, I sometimes wonder what took me so long to begin to look for him. I would have loved to know him a lot earlier than the time I did, but no regrets. It's better late than never.
Never, yeah.
I look back and I, talk to people, evangelize, and tell them that finding God is crucial. Looking for him is crucial. Ensuring that one finds him is paramount, and that it's never late. Even if you're 90, You're 100 before you hear about him. By all means, when you do, please say, yes, here I am. Lord, send me.
No, I want to take you a bit back, since, we're into reminiscing today. You started out as a secretary, and then you moved into the fashion world. How was that move for you?
That move for me, I believe, was destined. Because having worked as a secretary for so many years, I knew that I wasn't completely satisfied in that role. I wanted more. I wanted to be able to excel. I wanted to achieve more. I was not satisfied with the position I was in. And I kept on looking around me. The first thing I did was to speak to management. That, there are so many departments in the organization where I could make myself more useful than where I was. That I'd seen it all, done it all as far as the secretarial course was concerned. And, the organization agreed with me. And I was moved to head the corporate affairs department, which was a new department that was set up for me to head. And I excelled. They were very proud of me, and then moved me into banking proper. By which time I had to get into an in-house course, banking course. And I remember that there were 11 of us in that banking course, and some of them had MBAs. And, I was in the same classroom with them, at the end of which we had an exam. And I came 5th to the glory of God. For me, that spoke volumes. It told me that, I could be whoever I want to be and be able to excel in it. And that gave me the impetus to continue to put in my best. And I did put in my best. I was rubbing shoulders with the bank officers in the treasury department, and I was enjoying every bit of it. Until I then realized that as more people were being hired, they were being put above me. And I felt that that was unfair. And it seemed as if it was because they had university degrees and I didn't, that happened. Because they weren't doing anything that special, and they weren't excelling any more than I was. So I chose at that point to leave the bank for greener pastures. I decided that I wanted to set up my own business. I'd always known at the back of my mind that someday I would set up my own business. What kind of business it would be, I didn't know all those years as I was growing up. So when that time came, I sat down to look around me to see where and where I would want to be and what I would want to do. I knew that I had a flair for fashion. I come from a family of fashionistas. So I chose to study fashion design. I don't believe in doing things in a shoddy manner. I believe that whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So I chose to go back to school. And I went back to England to go and study fashion design. And it was at a time when Nigerians had begun to look inwards, especially as far as fashion is concerned. Fashion designers and fashion houses were springing up. I chose to go for that. I was away for a year. I multitasked. I learned the millinery profession at the same time because I wanted to be able to make clothes for women and also supply hats that would complement their clothing. So I did an intensive course and I came out of it, out of school there with a distinction. I came back and I set up my fashion house, which I called Supreme Stitches at the time, to the glory of God.
Wow, we'll go on a short break now, and when we come back, we'll be talking marriage with the second most powerful woman in Africa, Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija. Stay with us.